What's good, levelers? You know what time it is. Welcome back to another episode of High Level Chronicles, the podcast where video games, cannabis, and all things entertainment collide in the most epic way possible. I'm your host, Chris. Right next to me, the partner in crime, the one and only Paul. What's happening, bro?
Hey man, what's going on?
It's been a wild week for me and work, like always. It seems like every week we're talking about how work's been, but yeah. They just got rid of a bunch of people at work again, so.
We were talking about layoffs today too. Not like with us specifically, but just like how that's been happening at a couple different spots. Where we just hired this girl, and she, I guess, got a text from her old job about how they were firing like all these people and or laying off. I guess a trend going on right now, but which is unfortunate.
Our company's completely changing. We're going from a commercial vaccine company to a research and development company.
Oh,
downsized.
Sounds very different.
Been downsizing over the last 2 years, really, at two major overhauls.
No.
This time was the latest, which was today and yesterday. Yeah, it's been one of those weeks, but
yeah, and I've been trying to get out and work out, but I got a pinched nerve in my back, and it's just been,
oh shit.
Man,
speaking of that, I'm going to a chiropractor for the first time tomorrow.
Okay, are those legit? Because I've heard people that they just kind of press a little bit, and then you have to come back week after week, or is it actual a curing?
The one that I used to go to, you kind of set your own schedule. Mm-hmm. Like if you wanted to come once a month or every 3 months, but the initial appointment, which is what I'm having tomorrow, because I'm going to somebody new, they don't really do anything to you. They kind of just, look, take x-rays and check you out, and do all that, and then decide a plan of action. But I had never felt nothing better in my life before when I used to go. I used to go regularly. Insurance covers X amount of trips per year or visits per year. Yeah. So I used to go regularly and used to go before work all the time. I was working on Fort Detrick, so I would go to the chiropractor. He opened really early certain days, so I was there at 6:30 getting the fucking back treatment and felt fucking perfect all day long, man. And then, slowly just get back to what you are now, what you think is normal, but it's really not. Then go back, get readjusted.
Did you ever have back problems, or?
I have normal 40-year-old lower back pain. Wake up in the morning sometimes, whatever. Nothing really, major. Yeah, man.
It's a sensitive area, man. It is. All I did was I turned and I was like, oh no. It wasn't even like a fun story,
Yep, that's what they say. You can pull a nerve or do something to your back by just reaching to pick up a pencil. So anyway, man, you know what? We have got a dope episode for you levelers today. We're diving into the role of streaming services in modern entertainment. So we're talking Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, Apple TV, all that good stuff. How they've changed the game, or have they? Maybe. And what the future might look like. But first, we always start things up around here. It's time to level up. So, levelers, this is where we check in with you, see what you've been leveling up on, whether it's a new strain, a new game, or just a binge-worthy show or a movie maybe you've been watching. We want to hear about it. So, Paul, let's kick things off with you this week, bro. What have you been leveling up on lately?
Been leveling up on a few things. I'm still on my Elden Ring kick, which is I've just gotten back into it. I feel like I'm not the hottest garbage anymore. I'm just like a little garbage. So, that I feel really good about that.
I have the same way.
Also got some news called Ghost Haze that I'm leveling up on. That is it's a really good, nice sativa kick.
Nice.
To make the evenings a little more interesting, and been trying to catch up on Honey on Apple Plus with Rashida Jones. Yeah, it's a show. Rashida Jones is a widow in Japan and gets this robot kind of, I guess, to help it. Sonny?
I thought you said honey. I thought you said honey.
I thought it
It's
was
called Sunny.
Sunny.
That's the
It's called Sunny.
robot. Yes, that's the robot. Yeah. I asked you about
My
that last
bad.
week, remember? I
Yeah,
asked you, I said, if you watched Sunny, you said, yeah, it's good. You've got to catch back up on it, though. So I guess that triggered you last
they
time.
well, sort of. Yeah, I guess to go into what we're talking about today, they drop like 3 episodes at a time or something.
Oh, hell. All right. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah,
Oh, I might don't want to get triggered just yet.
yeah. What about you, man?
Man, I'll tell you what, I've been on this blue gumbo strain for about a week now. So it's like just the perfect time to get you do work, gaming. Like you, man, I'm still grinding out Elden Ring. I don't feel as shitty as I used to, but I'm getting it. I finally beat some bosses on my own, so that's worthy of gratitude, I guess. But
Yeah, no, you feel good
also,
about that.
man, I've been back on the Dead by Daylight a lot lately because they added a new game mode. So instead of for anybody that doesn't know about Dead by Daylight, it's a horror survival game. There's 4 survivors against one killer. The killer could be anybody from Michael Myers, Freddy, the Ringer, whatever. I mean, it could be anybody, Jason, whatever. They have all kinds of different killers on there. They just added Tomb Raider to the mix now, a whole Tomb Raider skin and outfit. But anyway, it's always been 4 survivors have to power up, 5 generators to power up the exit gate so they can escape. The killer comes around trying to get them, and they can hook them on the hook, which is you get 2 hook chances. First one you get hooked, somebody can save you. Second one, somebody can save you, but on your 3rd hook, you're dead. Basically end the game. But they just put in a new game mode. And remember, this Dead by Daylight, I've been playing this game since 2016. And it's really it has updates all the time. They're constantly updating it, but it's always cosmetics, maps, things like that, which is always fun. But they added a new game mode for the first time ever. And it's 2 versus 8. So it's 2 killers versus 8 survivors. And yeah, it's been fun. It's been wild with that many 2 different killers coming. And it says maps didn't change. They're still the same size. It's been fun. It's been different. So I've been on that kick. It's only they say it's a temporary game mode right now, but I think there's been so much interest in it that they've already extended it out like to the end of the month that it's supposed to end already. But yeah, so I think they're going to end up keeping it for good, hopefully. We also, man, we went what was you gonna say?
No, nothing. No.
We went and saw a new movie. We went and saw a new Nicolas Cage movie, Long Legs. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of it. He's it's
Right.
like kind of Silence of the Lambs kind of.
Yeah, something like it, bro. It's fucking stupid. That's what it is. I mean,
Thought you were about to talk it up.
really. No, even the wife. We both walked out of the theater like, the fuck did we just watch? Like, the movie itself isn't horrible, you know what I mean? It's this cinematics, Nicolas Cage. That the girl really, I don't know her name, the lead actress, and she really did well in her role. But the thing is, it's a movie that's set in the '90s about a bunch of murder suicides. So each case involves a father killing his family and then himself, and leaving behind a letter with satanic type of coding, and it's signed with a signature that says Long Legs. And the handwriting never belongs to any of the family members. So you can't figure out who this, how they're dying, what's going on here. It doesn't make any sense. So it's like the whole thing, not really give. It's like Satan, which is Nicolas Cage. He's Long Legs, which is
Right.
Satan, basically. He's taking over this doll that gets delivered to these houses and takes over people, to kill them, write the letter. He writes, I don't know. It's weird. It literally, the ending was so stupid. It's like just ends. It's one of those movies that just ends. It just goes off like a black screen. And then the credits stop rolling. It's like, what the fuck did we just watch? Unexpectedly, whatever. But then it kind of leaves, I guess that would leave it open for a sequel. The shit was so fucking stupid. I wouldn't pay to go see it again. And a sequel, you never once really saw Nicolas Cage until the very end of the movie. Like, the deformed man he was. I don't know. I don't know. It was dumb. Luckily, the only good thing I can say is we went on the $7 Tuesdays. So we didn't pay an arm and a leg to see the movie. We were going to go see Trapped, which is the new M. Night Shyamalan, whatever his name is, that movie. But we said, you know what, let's go see Long Legs. It had high ratings, like 90-some% on Rotten Tomatoes. I was like, I don't know how. They must be paid reviews or something. That was dumb. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, we're about to enter the spooky season, so there's a lot of horror flicks out. And I assume
Terrifier 3
probably
is coming
more.
out
There you go. I finally got to see
October.
Deadpool and Wolverine though, and that was
Let's talk about it.
that was an experience, dude. I've never seen a movie quite like
We didn't
that.
talk about it on the last episode because it had just came out a week or two prior to that episode, or a week prior to that episode. So, but now time's passed. It'll be well over a month and a half since that movie's been released. Now,
Wow.
for this episode, we're what going now. It'll be released week after next.
Right.
By the time we get done doing so, yeah, we'll be well into 2 months into there. So, what do you think? What was all the different? Did you like how they brought it Logan into it? That's the first question.
Sort of. I think that it was like they had to be really creative because did you see Logan, like the movie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
we all know he dies at the end. He's dead.
Right. And so that was like, well, shit. Like Wolverine's story is very much done. And then, but with Marvel, no one's ever actually really dead because there's all the different universes and timelines and things. So I thought that was interesting how they brought in the TVA from Loki, and I was like, okay, so these guys are like kind of still around, and all the callbacks when you get Chris Evans there, you're like, oh, what the hell is Captain America? Like he's also dead. We're just bringing people back, but you forget that 20 years ago, or maybe not quite that much, but about 20 years ago, the Fantastic Four came out, and he was Johnny Flame, and
the Human Torch.
The Human Torch, yep. And so he reprises that role, which I'm sure was a shock for everyone. Even
the post-credit scene,
yeah,
with him, that was hilarious. That post-credit scene was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
What do you think of the opening scene? The opening sequence. Bye. NC.
It was great. It was great. It
was a Deadpool too. When they sing Celine Dion, and he said we couldn't afford NSYNC. So now they got NSYNC singing bye. They got that in there to open it up, and that whole fucking every Deadpool opener is a fucking banger, man. It's just blood, guts, and just brutality. And it was awesome.
But there's so many
Wolverine's body.
Yeah, so many playlists that's like just millennial hit after millennial hit, and so I feel like for people sort of in our age demographic, that is like I feel like if I would take my parents to see it, they wouldn't know half the stuff. They didn't, you kind of have to. There's a lot of references, and you have to, be familiar with that world to get a good amount of them. I'm sure I missed some, and so I hear people like, "Oh, I'm gonna go see it again." Because there's stuff that they miss because it comes at you so fast and just sort of like a sentence here, a word there, and you're like, oh, where they're just talking about their real names and real wives' name. Blake Lively was in it as the woman Deadpool.
Lady Pool.
Yeah, so
even his baby was in it. His baby Pool. That was his kid, the baby.
See, I didn't know that.
Matthew McConaughey was Cowboy Pool.
Yeah. So there was
then you had
so
fucking
much.
Blade.
I saw it and I was like, oh shit, they brought Shaft in, and I was just like, oh no, isn't that another Wesley Snipes character, like superhero or something?
Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh,
Shaft.
Shit.
That's no. They don't all look the same, dude. Listen, though, you all don't look the same. I promise, it's not like that. No.
But I'm not familiar with Blade either. I was just like, holy shit, though. Is he a Marvel?
You didn't watch Blade?
Mm-mm.
Blade, Ryan Reynolds was in Blade back in the day. It's a throwback. Like that's how he brought Blade in. Blade Trinity. Ryan Reynolds played in it with him to help him take down Dracula in the last one. Blade Trinity.
I'm just not familiar with that series.
So they brought him back.
Oh.
Then you had Elektra,
which Jennifer I had forgot happened. That was again another like 20 years ago. I was like, oh shit, I did watch that like when I was in high school or something. Like,
right. That's when she was with Ben Affleck.
Yeah, when he was Daredevil, and that was a short-lived.
That was horrible.
It was bad.
It was horrible with
the new the new Daredevil. Lot better with the.
Oh, great! Absolutely amazing.
Charlie something or other, a British guy, but he's great.
Yep.
And
what did you think of Channing Tatum?
I got a lot of hate for that. I thought he was really interesting. Not great with the accent, but maybe on purpose because then they made fun of it in the movie.
Yeah, I don't know.
But that was
They might come up with a standalone game, but
they've been
there's a lot
trying
of
to
love
for a
hate.
while. Apparently,
It hasn't came to fruition yet.
exactly, yeah. That he's supposed to be Gambit in like a Gambit TV show, movie, or something, and it just falls through every time. So that was a little, and if that's something that Channing Tatum really wants to do, that's a nice little nod of like, hey, maybe we'll introduce the character. And Gambit's been played by a lot of people, but whatever the current incarnation is to
They had
introduce him there.
Nightcrawler. That was one of my favorite Nightcrawler in the movie.
They
You
didn't
remember
really
Nightcrawler from X-Men?
yeah, but he was like red, and he didn't.
Yeah, and they didn't really go into, they didn't showcase him at all. I mean, it was
Yeah,
more like just a nod, just
yeah.
a nod to the character, I think. And it's
Yeah.
Sabretooth.
Like
That was
old
awesome.
man Sabretooth. Yeah, I
That
didn't even
fight
know that
scene.
until like his like nails came out. I'm like, oh, okay. And that's like,
What about fucking Calverine?
what?
Henry Cavalier, the Superman Calverine. That's what they called him.
No, I didn't.
What?
I didn't catch that. Who was
When,
there's?
you know
Henry
when they're
Cavill
going
was
to the
in it?
different. Yeah, you know when they're cavalry. Yeah, that's what they call them, cavalry. But when he is transferring through the TVA into the verses, and he comes to the one, and you just see the backside of Wolverine, and he's working on a motorcycle, and Deadpool, he goes, "Now we're talking." And as he walks up to him, it comes back to it. It goes to a different scene. He comes back to it, but then Henry Cavill, he turns around and looks at him and starts talking to him, and he's like, "Okay, maybe not."
Yeah,
Cavalry.
I saw that. And I didn't get it at the time. I was like, this guy seems fine. Like, so that also went over my head. There were
There's
so
a
many
lot
things
of
to
cameos
reference.
and nods and. Anyway,
I mean,
man, what about our levelers out there, bro? What do they have for us this week? Anything going on out there?
Yeah, we got a few people. We got Adam F. He says, "What's up, fellas? Let me tell you, I just picked up this hybrid strain called White Fire OG. It's like the perfect balance. Got me super creative, which was awesome because I've been diving deep into Hogwarts Legacy. Finally got around to playing it, and bro, it's like the magic of Elder Scrolls and Harry Potter had a beautiful baby." All right. You ever played
Never played
Hogwarts? Me neither.
Nope.
No, I read the books back in the day and saw some of the movies.
Never even seen the movies.
No. At Jagerman 282 says, "I've been on that blue dream all week. Smooth, relaxing, and perfect for that marathon binging session of Black Mirror." Yeah, Black Mirror already needs to come out with new episodes. Can't recommend it enough. The show is already wild AF, but Level Up takes it to a whole nother level. I'm sure it does. I can see like a Friday night sesh of just booting up some Black Mirror and leveling up on that. And then
Nice.
Last we got at Tarnished Fingers 88 says, "I've been trying out this hybrid strain called Pineapple Express, and no, not just because of the movie. It's been perfect for my late night Elden Ring sessions." Tarnished Fingers 88. Man, the game is brutal, man, but the right strain helps me stay focused and calm, especially when trying to get through the new DLC, which I haven't done, but I've heard that the new one is just.
Bro, there ain't no way I could play even kick into the new DLC.
Like, I know. I see the videos of it. I'm like, this looks insane. Like, it looks amazing, but I was like, I'm not there yet. You get.
But I'm just saying, like the regular fucking characters in that map of the DLC, like the regular characters, one hit would fucking destroy me right now. Like, well, would just fucking demolish me.
Yep.
Like every nitty nothing I could do. And to face that Radon. I don't know how you say it.
You said raw dog.
Face Sam at the end. Rada is it Rada? Radah. Whatever that boss's name is, man. There ain't no way I can battle that bitch right now. No way.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to. I can't even beat the second tier boss on the first map.
Who is that?
I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just giving what kind of. I got the first little part of Limgrave. Those bosses done. The next tier up of Limgrave, like they even say like Khalid or however you say that, Khalid, I think.
Is tough,
man. Bro. No way. I can't fucking do shit. I just get killed. And then if I move on up the map to the north, I guess it would be northwest corner to where you get to the castle with the bridge, which really crosses over into a whole other world that I can't get to yet, I'll get demolished up there too. So just a
Yeah, no,
grind trying to get
I'm
them
running
fucking
around
ruins.
just trying to hit things. I'm looking up guides, and it's like you need to get this weapon, and it's over here, and this spell and stuff. And I'm just like, oh man, it's a lot. It was a
Yep,
lot more than
it
I ever thought it
definitely is.
was.
All right, levelers. Well, you all had some fun. Make sure everyone hit us up, highlevelchronicles.com or at HLC Podcast 420. Let us know what you've been leveling up on. We want to know again what games, strains, shows, movies, whatever it may be, it's keeping you entertained. Your feedback might just make it onto the next show. But now that we've got our minds right, let's get into today's topic, the role of streaming services in modern entertainment. So, Paul, what do you say? Let's kick it off by talking about how streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, Apple TV, you can pick your poison, really, how they've completely flipped the script on how we, consume entertainment.
No,
They've basically become the standard now, right? They've kind of become the standard.
it's really nothing short of a revolution. When I think of things prior to Netflix, and this is like in the 2000s or something, I'm trying to find a movie, and there's all these sort of pirate sites that I'm sure are just full of cookies that just infiltrate your PC. But while I was looking for movies like to watch like with a girl or with friends or something, like I had this whole litany of sites that would try to just see, and they were very dubious, and you kind of get it, but it'd be sometimes you get a different language, sometimes you get it with just like it would start
Yep.
halfway through, and
You'd
Netflix,
see a body walking across.
yeah, people in
A
the
shadow
back,
of a body.
yeah, and Netflix really changed that. Um,
Oh,
at first,
yeah.
just in terms of the movies, they started with the order. You would order the DVDs before they even had a streaming
They had
service.
the that was 97.
97,
They had
yeah.
the rental by mail. You
Mm-hmm.
rented it, you filled out your form, sent it in. You rented whatever movie, they sent it to you on a disc.
Yeah.
Before we get into all the history of like that, I think streaming, they made it so that you can kind of watch what you want, when you want, wherever you want. It's like having an endless buffet of content right at your fingertips, right? And
Yeah.
you don't have to wait for anything to be served up to you. Or at least we didn't have to when they first started with streaming. But we can get into more on that later. When streaming first came out, completely different. But the good thing too is you can pause streaming whenever you want to get a snack, smoke break,
Yeah.
whatever, right?
What was that part?
It's not
Got to
just
rewind,
TV.
Yeah.
It's not just TV though, man. Video games are getting into the streaming service too. Look at services like Xbox Game Pass, EA Play, PlayStation Plus Premium. Gaming is headed in the same direction. Unlimited access to a library, for a monthly fee. I mean, like you said, let's start at the beginning, or at least somewhere near the beginning. I think Netflix is I think the beginning. They started with that rental by mail, like you said, right? And then they evolved in the early 2000s. I don't know the exact date. I know it was real early 2000s into placing a kiosk at your grocery store, your gas station. I mean, you can find them at any corner store,
Oh my
basically.
God, I forgot about those. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, you did. Then you go there, and that's where you got the disc. You didn't have to go to mail anymore, and that was revolutionary. Everybody loved it.
Yeah.
You went to the kiosk, you saw if they had any in stock, you got it right then and there. You got a day or two to watch it. You brought it back. If you didn't bring it back that day, they charge you like, I don't know, what, a fucking $1 a day or something like that. I don't even remember what it was, but you rented disc, you watched the movies, and that became essentially the huge competition for Blockbuster.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't remember Blockbuster, Netflix really took Blockbuster out of that. But it wasn't.
It's funny though, because they came to Blockbuster and were like, "Hey, we're having this kind of new thing, and you should buy
I heard
us."
that before.
And Blockbuster laughed them out of the room. And now I don't think there's any Blockbusters left. I know there was a few in the last couple of years that were like hanging on. Alaska has because they have that poor Wi-Fi connection up there. So
I have I've been up there. I've been in that Blockbuster. It's right near the North Pole in Alaska, the city, the North Pole. I've been up there plenty of times for work before.
Oh, geez,
yeah. But it was 2007 that Netflix decided to switch their business model and provide streaming services, which allowed subscribers to watch movies and TV shows, right over the internet. And it revolutionized really the way people consume media, making content, more accessible and convenient. And then over the next few years, they expanded its streaming library, securing license deals with, major studios and production companies. And then that's when Netflix decided, hey, what was it, 2013, we're going to start making our own content for our own streaming service.
House of Cards.
And they released House of Cards, the first original series, which, was critically acclaimed, demonstrated the potential for streaming platforms to create, these high quality content. And the success was followed by other originals such as Orange is the New Black, Stranger Things, The Crown. Yeah. Amazing shows that, we watch. And Netflix's growth continued as it expanded internationally, reaching over, I think it was 190 countries is the note I had by 2016. And they invested heavily around that same time into the custom content production, films, documentaries, animated series, trying to cater to that, global audience, which, if you ask me, I think today Netflix is one of the world's leading streaming services, with millions of subscribers and a vast library of content. You know what I mean? I think they're leading the market in streaming.
Oh yeah, with probably dozens of languages and foreign films and just getting into the real international market. I had a friend of mine was really big into Bollywood, and I didn't know they had access to like my sister's Netflix account. And she would come up, she's like, why are all these Bollywood films on here? Which is just like a whole, it's not really my jam, but it's a whole section of Netflix that of film after film after film, that if that's something that you're really interested in, they have tons of content there and I'm sure it's in a lot of different areas that if you're not interested in, you won't see it. It won't be part of your algorithm. It's I don't know how many titles they have now. I'm sure it always changes because they take things out, put things on, but it's got to be in the thousands.
Absolutely. It's crazy because these streaming services are no longer just a place, to catch independent stuff like that, to catch reruns, of old TV shows that, weren't even associated with streaming because they're so old, that you can watch now on some of these. And then, of course, like I said, the new original content that they have, last year alone, so 2023, Netflix spent $17 billion just on their own original content. It shows though, man. You know what I mean? Think about The Witcher, right? Stranger Things, like I said, these originals are driving people to subscribe. Yeah. It's almost like they've become their own networks. Every network every streaming service has their own exclusive content, right?
That's how they Disney try to differentiate
like The Mandalorian,
yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And like you said, they've changed the types of content being produced too. So one, like they're taking risks with more, like you said, like a special niche, traditional TV networks wouldn't do, because traditional TV, cable TV, Fox, NBC, ABC, right there, they're aimed at like the broadest audience possible. They want to cater to everybody. The streaming services, they can cater to your specific interests. If you want to watch anime, what's the streaming service you all go to? Crunchyroll. That's where all your anime is going to be. It's like they've unlocked, a secret achievement of diverse content. You've got shows and movies, whatever, for every possible interest on the planet right now at your fingertips. Yeah. Anything you can think of.
Which is the key to their success. And I heard, I can't remember if this was a joke or this was, a half joke, but that network, Fox, CBS, NBC, their primetime lineup is supposed to be catered to like white Midwestern families in their like mid 40s or something. Like that was their most broad demographic. Right. And which, King of Queens, like things like that. Like,
yeah, dude, those are some good shows though.
Yeah.
Everybody Loves Raymond? Everybody Loves Raymond?
Not to hate on them.
Did you ever watch Everybody Loves Raymond?
A few times, yeah. I'm familiar
with
Ray
Romano,
yeah.
I love that. Or Reba. Remember Reba?
I remember
Reba was a singer.
Reba's coming out with a new show. She plays the same character, I feel like, in all these different shows where it's just sort of, the no-nonsense country mom. That's all. Well,
dude, that's Kevin Hart. Think about Kevin Hart for a minute. Think of it, and I'm not trying to go off topic. It does have to do with movies and streaming, but Kevin Hart, in every aspect, is the worst actor ever. And I only say that Listen, I don't get me wrong. I'm going off topic a little bit, but I love Kevin Hart as a comedian. He's funny as hell, right?
Mhm.
Kevin Hart is funny as shit. Me and my wife, we went and saw him just last year or year, whenever he came to DC for
Mhm.
his huge thing he did. Amazing. But as far as an actor in movies, he plays the same exact character in every goddamn movie. Kevin Hart. I don't care what name you give him in the movie, he is Kevin Hart.
Yeah, the uptight.
Don't get me started on Borderlands.
Yeah.
Borderlands just came out. That was the worst. Oh my god, I'm not even gonna get into it right now. We're gonna do a whole episode on video game adaptation to movies. We need to do that. An episode on video game adaptation. We'll get into that. But anyway, back to TV. So I don't want to get into it. Like I said,
Don't
stuff like that.
you up,
yeah.
man.
So you're right. They were catering to your middle age, essentially middle age, middle income,
middle everything,
family, suburban family.
Yeah, and I can remember
Roseanne.
Oh, exactly. And it wasn't. I think the quality of that. I don't know if it really dissipated, but when you saw sort of a juxtaposition to like the last season of Roseanne to the first season of House of Cards, there's really no. You couldn't be more different in terms of the quality, in terms of the writing, in terms of the acting. Even HBO, or I guess Max now, had True Detective, which I'm not. If you ever seen it, I highly recommend it. Yeah, where you had Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson, like Hollywood actors, A-listers, and what was still seen as like just a TV channel at the time, but playing really complex characters with amazing writing and amazing plot, and just bringing their A game to that. And I at the time I was like, that's so weird. How did they get movie actors on a TV show? But now like that's not even like a second thought. You see it all the time now. But I think that was, I don't know how long ago that was, but it was a while. And now you can see it, whether it's Game of Thrones, or which is like, HBO's like flagship show, where now they're the House of the Dragon and stuff. And you just see these, if they're not A-listers at the time, they're A-listers now. And and it will just launch you. No one knew Kit Harington before Game of Thrones.
I mean, who is he after that? I mean, honestly, who is he now?
Stuff, but
did nothing worthwhile, nothing worth mentioning one bit. There's like one thing you can mention he's been in is worth a damn besides Game of Thrones.
Wasn't he in Deadwood?
He's typecasted. They see him as that, and he can't get no other roles. That's why he doesn't do anything else.
Doesn't really have to do anything.
Actors and actors to do that. You know what I mean? I mean, you're right, they don't. But anyway, the thing with streaming, and like you say, it went from network TVs getting some, A-listers for TV shows and things, with which are like on HBO, like on HBO, it's its own cable still. HBO's okay. You should have those special, what do you call them? Special series or whatever, where they have these celebrities and some stuff doing stuff. They're always timed, like usually an hour to an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. But streaming services, man, they ain't bound to any traditional TV format whatsoever. You know what I mean? Episodes can be different lengths. They don't have to be a half hour or 1 hour, like your traditional TV, 30-minute episodes, with time for the commercials to take out 12 minutes, 18 minutes a show, essentially, whatever. Episodes can be different. I mean, seasons can be shorter or longer, and that's a huge thing too. You think about it. It's all about what serves the story best. But with traditional TV, think of your classic shows like you mentioned that were aimed for Friends, Roseanne. You can name off a shit ton of TV. Most of those seasons were like 30 episodes. You know what I mean? Now on streaming, we're getting seasons that are 8 episodes. Right. We're lucky to get 10 episodes for a season.
You can't get 30 episodes that are going to be an A every single time. Like, you're going to have filler episodes. You're going to have episodes that maybe lead into other episodes. Seinfeld, I think, is a good example of that. Not every episode of Seinfeld is great. There's a few probably choice ones, but they had, I don't know, probably about 30 seasons or 30 episodes for 8 seasons or something like that. Like, it's a lot. And I think right now you see a switch from quantity to quality, where you have an 8 episode season and everyone's a banger. And that's what makes like a show that you see on a streaming service so amazing.
It's like they got a game genie for content creation. No
Yeah,
rules, just being right.
yeah.
And
The show that I think broke the most rules was Curb Your Enthusiasm, because they would just take years off. There's like, if we feel like doing the show this year, but then we'll come back in 2 years and we'll have some more ideas for another season, and then we'll take a year off, and then we'll come back. And I think the entire season, like it's like 10 seasons or something, but it goes over 20 years because they didn't feel like doing one every year. And there's like, we got other projects we're working on, but sometimes it'd be longer episodes, shorter episodes. Like there wasn't really like a format there, and but they did their own thing, which I always thought was kind of interesting. But
yes,
I think the pricing too is switched a lot of people onto streaming services. Where I can remember Comcast, which was the only cable provider in my area, because they had the whole monopoly thing, and I'm paying 150 $200 or something for a bunch of channels that I don't watch.
right.
Then I don't know if every cable provider is like this, but then they assume it's going to be too much of a hassle for you to change after you get whatever sort of promotional deal they have after a year or two, and then they raise the price on you, and then you have to go through the process of canceling. And for me, it was like I don't know why. I wish there was something else, and then I found Roku, and that really showed all the types of streaming service, even stuff that really never took off, because I think people were just trying. I'm gonna do Tubi, which is, I don't know how successful it is, but it's something that's out there that I try to have their own original content and get the name out there. Like, hey, we exist as a thing. Like, you could do Netflix and Tubi, and it's like, I don't know. I don't know how many people are watching it, but like Hulu was one that took off. Disney Plus, Apple
Hulu started
Plus.
off free.
Mm-hmm.
It was free. Yeah, it was free. It had ads. Then they introduced the first subscription base, which was ad free, and then they have the new, then Disney bought them and it turned into a whole thing, whatever. Or it was a brainchild of Disney, whatever it was. But
Well, now you get like some
yeah,
bundles where it's like, yeah, Hulu, Disney Plus, and something else for a promotional price. And
ESPN,
so
it's ESPN Plus,
ESPN
ESPN Plus,
Plus.
Disney, and because I get ESPN Plus. See, that's what pisses me off now, man. Back in, you know, cable, I wish cable had an a la carte package where you could just pick what channels you wanted and pay X amount for each channel or something, because they always want to make you get into these packages that include, 30 channels in a bundle, but maybe only one or two of them are actually worth a damn. You know what I mean? Or there might be
Yeah.
that one channel that you really watch. Like for me, before it used to be like Comedy Central,
Mm-hmm.
or something like that. Then, do you remember Spike TV?
Yeah, sure.
So like Spike TV, I loved it. I had to have Spike TV. Well, couldn't get that unless you paid for the premium package. That's the only thing that was included. That's how they got you. So it just, cable is just so expensive, and they haven't changed their business model because it works. I mean, because like you said, they have monopolies over areas, whether it's Xfinity, whether it's Charter Communications, whether it's like broadband, whoever it is. No matter where you go, you will never have the option between two cable providers. Never. They have a monopoly over top of it.
98% of the country has two or fewer options because they refuse to compete with each other. And when you don't have any competition there, they just make their own rules and you have to deal with it. And so it felt kind of good when I finally, cut
Sounds
the
like
cord.
fucking Ticketmaster.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's a monopoly too, where some venues, that's the only way to see a show there. And so now, or at least when I started to get into streaming services, I was like, well, this is so much cheaper. I'm getting higher quality content, and it was like, I was like, oh, like this, like we're entering a really nice time where you sort of get a little more a la carte. We had where even if you're watching kind of like regular TV, there's Sling, there's DirecTV there's YouTube TV, because I'm a huge football fan, so I got to have my like my CBS, NBC, stuff.
It is back. NFL's back.
Oh, I know. I'm so excited.
I've already watched a few games
Yeah.
over the last couple of weeks.
Same.
I like preseason. Gives me a little idea of what's going on, just how everything's going. I like it.
I'm so thirsty for football. Watch whatever. Fifth stringers, let's go.
People trying to make the team. NFL, you could only watch all the NFL games if you had DirecTV. Like they had that NFL was only with DirecTV. That's the only way you used to be able to watch every NFL game. That was
No,
way
but
before Red Zone. I used to work for DirecTV when I was in my early like 20s, I think. And the NFL
write that
Network
down
was
as
only
another
on
job
DirecTV.
Chris had.
Bro, I've had
Keeping a
so many
tally.
fucking jobs. Let me tell you a funny story about that. DirecTV, it's part of streaming stuff. I quit because I didn't like the way they handled business. I got called out for a job to clear off, or there was what was it? Something wrong with the picture, right? No signal. That's what it was. No signal. I go out. It's wintertime. The dish is on the roof, right? Most of them were either put on the roof or they were put on the ground on a pole. That's usually how they were put out. So I'm like, well, there's the no signal issue. You have to clear off the snow to get the signal because the dish with snow on it is blocking it.
Sure.
Well, the person that owned the home was an 84-year-old man. And they told him, you can either climb up there and clear it off yourself, or we will charge you for this service cost was $175 for me to climb up there and clear it off. I quit that day. I was like, I ain't doing this shit. I'm not making you all money to that because I'm an 84-year-old man. You're going to have him climb on the roof in the snow just because I get it's his turn, but come on. You can at least not charge him the service call. You know what I mean? Give him a courtesy something. I was done with it at that point. But yeah, NFL Network used to only be on. I don't remember. It was Dish or DirecTV. I think one to each at some point. But yeah, now you can get NFL Red Zone. That's my thing. I love NFL Red Zone. That's my favorite thing in the world. NFL season Red Zone.
I see that sometimes, because I get it now for the first time, as of like last NFL season, and I was like, oh, this is like pretty interesting. Where they're just like going to the game, they're in the red zone, they're in the 20, they're the 10. But yeah, no, it's good. And what was funny is when I switched to Roku, they didn't have a deal with CBS yet. And so I'm a big Ravens fan.
I didn't even know they had a deal with CBS.
You're saying
a deal to be able to.
You're
saying to broadcast it. You're saying to broadcast it on there. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, never
so
mind.
They would show the NFC games on Fox. They would show the Sunday night games, Monday night games, but they didn't have CBS as a deal that you could watch. So I had to get a streaming service. Aren't you Steelers fan? You gotta watch that.
Hell yeah,
This
team, man.
We'll talk about that later. But I had to get CBS Now, which was a new streaming service they had, and you could watch NFL games that they broadcast. And I was like, this is so ridiculous. I have to get a streaming service just to watch my team play. Eventually, they struck the deal with CBS. I was able to go back, and I'm trying to cancel.
Well,
it's
CBS,
like a 20-minute process. And they're like,
that doesn't even exist anymore.
It shouldn't exist because it sucked, and they were trying to
CBS,
keep me there.
CBS All Access is what it ended up becoming. Was CBS All Access?
No, they changed it.
Then that what that is now, though, right? Paramount Plus.
Yeah, well, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yep, that's that.
So even the networks
you have all
are
these
trying
cable
to get
people, right? See, you have all these fucking cable people launching their own streaming platforms. So you have the CBS All Access, which became Paramount Plus, NBC, they launched fucking Peacock,
yeah,
right? And so on, and they're trying to get a piece of that fucking streaming pie. Everybody is going to streaming. But I don't know.
What's killing me though is they're trying to do the NFL on Peacock. Some of the games where you have to have that streaming service. Yeah,
but I have cable.
Me too.
I'm a cable. See, that's where we're different. I have cable.
I have YouTube TV, which shows me cable, but
I have Xfinity.
Yeah. Well, it's I enjoyed cutting the cord because I think Xfinity, Comcast, whatever, horrible fucking company. Just in terms of service, in terms of
let me tell you
just doing whatever they want to do.
I used to work for Comcast. I mean, not Comcast, but Charter Communications, which is out of like West Virginia and that's mid down there. I've also been around other companies, like in Reno, Nevada, is a different cable company. Xfinity has been the absolute best company I've ever been with.
Wow.
That's saying a lot.
I could only imagine how bad this other company is. Yeah.
All right, and that's bad. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's how bad it is for cable. I mean, you're a monopoly, so you have these shitty ass cut. They don't care about you because you can't go anywhere. You cut the cord, like you said, and go to streaming. But now you're in that you're in that thing, and the pandemic only sped things up. More things started streaming because theaters were shut down. Streaming services became the go-to place for movie releases, and now even with, the theaters reopening, people are still, all the movies now you can watch right at home. You just pay $19.99 to watch it or whatever. I have every single movie on everything. But let's real talk. The future is definitely subscription based. Absolutely.
I think
all
signs point to
movies,
that.
TV shows, games. We're all about everybody, us Americans. It's not just Americans really, because we're in America. It's our main audience here, but across the world, we're all about that all you can eat content, right? You want that all you can eat buffet. But with all this convenience and content, there's also the question of oversaturation. Like we said, the cable company networks are now providing streaming services that you got to pay for just to watch certain things. You have your Netflix, Hulu, Apple TV, Disney Plus, HBO Max, Amazon Prime, Peacock. I mean, you can name them all, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many subscriptions, and I'll ask you because I'm Xfinity, how many subscriptions can one person have before it becomes too much?
What's too much?
Or is it cable? So with every major studio launching their own service, are we heading for a streaming bubble? Is it sustainable for everybody to keep doing this?
What?
I mean, it's overwhelming. You've got all these services competing for your attention for money, and the worst part, they each have their own exclusive content. So if you want to watch The Mandalorian, you got to have Disney Plus. If you love Stranger Things, you got to watch Netflix. It's like they're forcing you to subscribe to multiple platforms just to keep up with the shows you like and you love. Now, let's not forget, like I said about the niche, like Crunchyroll for anime lovers, or Shudder, right, for horror fans. At some point, people are going to say, can't afford all of these subscriptions. It's like the new cable bundle, except instead of one bill, you've got 5, 6, 7, whatever. And then don't get me started on all the different user interfaces and the fact that none of these platforms talk to each other. You're constantly having to switch apps, remembering passwords, hunting for one to watch, trying to figure out what fucking streaming service was that on? Was that on Hulu or was that on Netflix? I can't remember.
Definitely done that.
It's a first world problem for sure, but it's fucking annoying.
Well, here's sort of, I have more of an optimistic view, where you definitely see that there's, I think we can just name off the top ones of probably the top 6 or so: Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, Max, and then like Peacock and Paramount Plus. I think are like, and Disney Plus are probably all like the top tier kind of streaming services. And there's probably 50 that I don't know about. I mentioned Tubi earlier, but there's just tons of streaming services that are, I'm sure they might have their own original content too, but they're just not as well known. And the last time that I had a cable package, I was paying close to $200 a month. And
that's what I pay now. That's what it is.
Right. And so
with internet, don't get me wrong.
Sure. Yeah.
But that's how they get you too, because you can't, if I got rid of my internet, which we could go on about internet providers, because that's part of streaming. You have to have internet, right? Internet providers have monopolies over fucking areas, and or you have a rural area, which Thurmont, where I'm at, isn't really rural, right? I mean, it's not, but it is. We only have Xfinity. We don't have any option like Fios or Glow Fiber or any of that stuff. It ain't up here. So if I drop my cable, we've already tried to do this before. If we drop all of our cable and just get our internet, we're saving like $25 a month.
Right.
Then we have to go buy the streaming services. It's going to cost us more to get every separate streaming service, fuck all that. Because right now, Xfinity includes, look, in our Xfinity package, it's included Netflix, Peacock, Paramount Plus, all that. Everything's included. All that's included in Xfinity.
Oh, well, that's okay. Then I guess
giving that to you now as a bonus, so that's how they're coming back to everybody cutting the cord. Is because that's what I'm saying. This bubble, all these companies have separated and made their own streaming services and made all this exclusive content. People are coming to a point where they have to say, I have to pick and choose which one, especially in this economy nowadays. I have to pick and choose which ones I want. Now, if you have the time and you can remember, You can do like most people do with like HBO Max. When Game of Thrones is on or House of Dragon is on, you pay for it, watch it. When it's done, cancel that shit because there ain't nothing else to watch on it, and watch your other stream. But then that becomes time consuming. You forget. It becomes a hassle. You know.
Yeah, no, I'll admit, I probably have. All the ones that I mentioned of top tier, I think I have all of them, or at least I have like my family member has an account that I'll just mooch off of.
Right.
But
well,
even
and now what about that nowadays?
They're cracking down on it.
You can't even do that anymore. Netflix, you used to be able to be like, hey, bro, here's my name and password, log in. You can watch it anywhere you were at in the world. Now, you have to be on the same Wi-Fi network to even share the account. Or you have to pay extra money per month.
Mm-hmm.
So they've even cracked down on that, which I understand when you're sharing, all these passwords. I mean, it's hurting your business model. You have to come up with a new business model because you're taking a huge hit because you're not gaining that money, especially. And I understand Netflix doing that. And I really think they've stepped up their game with their content. They're putting all this money into these productions and custom content. It costs money. So sharing passwords with hundreds of millions of users that were getting free Netflix, that's a big hit.
That's true. And it costs money to be subscribing to Disney Plus and Hulu and Netflix and Peacock, and even TV aside, I subscribe to Spotify, and I have every song, tons of podcasts, audiobooks, which I didn't even know until like a couple months ago, and for $12 or something, and so for me, I feel like the quality though has just improved so much. I didn't really watch TV before because I was like, everything sucks. There's networks I don't even hear of because I don't watch them. Comedy Central, Spike TV, maybe the news, maybe football, and that was really it. And now there's tons of great things to watch on every. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I had like 4 channels, and I was paying $200 because
ESPN was always in the premium network.
Exactly,
ESPN was always in the premium network.
I remember they're like, "Hey, we'll give you $100 or 100 networks for $35," and I was like, "What a deal!" And then I was like, "I don't understand any of these networks." It's like I got NBC and CBS on here, and then El Rey and the Oprah Network and HGTV, which I do love now, but I didn't as like a 20-year-old. And just like stuff, I was like, I don't watch any of that, and I had to get the highest package because that's the one we're all, and it's all intentional, But I just think that you can go through Netflix, watch new content that you discover, comedy specials, and it's all so much better than what TV used to be. And so I see that as a plus. And I don't think I'm spending $200. I haven't done the math, but I'm sure it's probably $100 and change with all of them. But to me, it's worth it. And I think we're living in sort of a golden age of content.
I get it. But with the economy we're in and everything, I think there's only so much time and money people are willing to spend. And with all this competition, I don't think every streaming service is going to survive. I think we might end up seeing some mergers or acquisitions down the line. Maybe some platforms shutting down. I mean, it's going to be survival of the fittest, I think, because I think we might see some consolidation, like I said, in the future. Some of these smaller services,
some of the smaller
might
ones
get
for sure
merged or bought out. Don't be surprised if we see more ad-supported models, like what Netflix and Disney Plus are starting to experiment with. You're getting, cheaper subscriptions, but you have to watch ads. So what's the difference in that and cable?
Yeah, it's going to be similar. I just hope that the quality still can be like a top tier. Some of the integration of sports, where there was, I think Disney Plus had a Toy Story animation NFL game where it was like in London, so like unless you were in the market you couldn't see it live, but you could watch it nationally on Disney Plus with like Toy Story characters, and the pig is the ref, and other commentators playing in Andy's room, which I thought was interesting, but it wasn't like, I was like, I don't know if I want to see this a lot. You have Thursday Night Football on Amazon Plus. You have
now it's on Amazon now, right? That's not even on K. Now that's a streaming service that you normally wouldn't have had. Maybe. I mean, most people have Prime, so you get Prime Video. You know what I mean? But if you don't, that's just another one you gotta buy. some other streaming service just to watch your Thursday night football now. Because
Yep,
it's not on a regular network.
And they're trying to expand it to other networks with because NBC's got their thing, ESPN has their thing, ESPN Plus,
Basketball's starting to
Peacock.
go that route too. They're
Yep.
signing deals with different streaming services to do all the same. And Netflix is going live now. You know that, right? They're
They've
going
tried
live
it a
route.
few times. I went to high school
No,
with
it's
a
done.
guy that was on Love is Blind. And so it's not.
No. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about live TV. Netflix is starting live TV.
Like,
you know WWE Raw?
I'm familiar.
It's on
I
USA?
haven't watched. Yeah.
But Raw is a 3-hour wrestling show by WWE every week on Monday nights. Monday Night Raw.
Monday Night
Been
Raw.
Monday Night Raw for fucking decades. Still going to be Monday Night Raw. But it's going to be live and now on Netflix starting in January 2025. Netflix has the rights for another 10 years now. So Netflix is starting to do more live events. You remember the Tom Brady roast? Live event. Mm-hmm. It was a live event. It wasn't streamed. It was streamed live. So they're going the live route. Nope, they're going to be doing it now. They're doing it. Raw's the first TV, and they're talking about doing it with there's been talks with like Cartoon Network and stuff with like Rick and Morty, stuff like that. Solar Opposites, I think's the other one. Different things where they can do it live, just like on cable TV. We should watch it on Netflix now.
What is the appeal of that? I mean, I get Raw; it's like a sporting thing, but like, why would you have set your calendar to like, oh, I got to get on Netflix at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to like that that's the whole. That seems like against what the purpose of it was originally for, like to not have
That's what I'm saying. Streaming services are becoming cable companies, essentially. You're having the same stuff, People love Rick and Morty fans. If you're not a Rick and Morty fan, you don't understand, but Rick and Morty fans, you all know what I mean. You wait on that episode to drop. You wait on that episode every week when they drop the new season. So now, if Netflix picks it up, now you're not going to be on Cartoon Network anymore. You're going to be watching it on Netflix. You're going to be on Netflix waiting for that live episode to come on. And you would normally be watching it on cable TV. You see what I'm saying? So what's the difference in that and cable? I mean, we're getting in, it's a wild time in entertainment, dude. I mean, it's a wild time. Everything is intermingling and seeming, like I said, eventually something has to happen. There's just going to be too much. I feel that there's just, I don't know.
Right.
The biggest thing that really pisses me off, you're a sports fan.
Right.
But you're a sports fan, right?
I am.
Are you like a fighting, UFC, hand-to-hand combat, boxing? Are you into all that?
I don't know a lot of the names, but I've watched it before, yeah.
Okay, so you're not an avid watcher, So UFC.
MMA,
Let's just start with UFC. Like UFC. Mm-hmm. UFC used to always be just a pay-per-view event. You used to just, no matter where, you just bought it and it streamed on whatever channel was pay-per-view. Now, to watch UFC pay-per-views, you have to have ESPN Plus. So you have to subscribe to ESPN Plus to watch the UFC pay-per-views.
Do you still have to pay?
You still have to buy you still have to buy the pay-per-view. So if you don't already have the ESPN Plus, or whatever, you have to subscribe to it just to watch that. Now you have other streaming companies like DAZN, DAZN. They're a big boxing promotion. That's where Jake Paul, he fights a lot on there. But now DAZN used to be its own like streaming thing, and they had pay-per-view events on it. Now you have to pay a monthly subscription just to get DAZN, and then you have to buy the pay-per-view again. I stopped at that point. Not buying DAZN. I'm not paying for a monthly subscription to something that I might watch a fight on once every 2 months, 3 months. You know what I mean? Not doing it. Oh. So it's why. That's what got me. The very first thing that really pissed me off was the UFC ESPN merger. I fucking got it. That because you had to buy a new subscription, and now UFC fights used to be $49.99, and they went to $59. Now they're $89.99. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like
that's a jump.
No, I'm saying they've jumped $10 like every few years. So they're at $80. Now they're $89. You want to watch a fight? It's $89.
Damn. But that's I wonder if a lot of sports are going to get into that, because right now the biggest holdout I can see is baseball, where they are shown on at least in our area, if you watch a Nationals game, Orioles game, I'm a big Orioles fan. I can only watch it on the local cable MASN, Mid-Atlantic Sport Network, and I feel like they're trying to hold on to that, but they're also trying to find ways to improve the sport. They instituted the pitch clock to try to make games a little little more snappier. And I
Mm-hmm.
just, but those networks would collapse
Made me think
if
of
they
something.
moved to a streaming service. But I can't watch it
NFL.
because I don't get NASA with YouTube TV, which pisses me off.
NFL.
Sorry, NFL. Yeah, well, yeah, they're doing their
Dude,
shit too.
what do you think of that new NFL rules? What do you think of the new kickoff and the overtime? What do you think of this new stupid shit? I think that's what I'm calling it. I
I've heard
hate the way they're doing it now.
the onside kick rules are dumb. Like
You have to
they
announce it before and only one team line. It's so stupid. And it can
you have to
only
announce
have it
it. You can
like,
only do the fourth quarter. You have to be down. And
yeah.
I think it's dumb. I don't think it's going to really affect all that much. I mean, how many times do you see
Like,
an
what's the
onside
point of
kick
it?
that's a
Right.
surprise?
What's the
you
point?
know?
But I'm talking about the regular kickoff. What is the point of it? I mean, I get the point. They're trying to
Trying to
safety
make
of players, but fucking what? That kickoff is so stupid. I've watched it now. How many times? I still can't grasp. Like, I can't. It's just like, what am I watching?
Wait, so when I saw it, it's you don't line up in like different tiers anymore. You all have to line up at the center, and then everyone runs back. Is
No,
that
so it's like essentially, I know I'm wrong here. So levelers, you can correct me, whatever. I don't care. But it's something like it's you. So all the players, the kicker has his spot, the same spot he's always kicked from, right? Whatever that yard line is. Uh, the other players have 10 players on each team lined up at the 35 and 25 respectively.
Mm-hmm.
25 and 35 yard line on their side. So the kicker kicks. Those players are not allowed to move. Only the kicker can run until the player touches the ball and makes a football move. So those two teams are lined up 10 yards apart, and
I
they're
didn't
not
realize
allowed to
that.
move. Yes, that's what I'm saying. You have to once you watch it, you're gonna be like, "What the fuck is this?"
I
Like
saw the
they
Ravens
say it's for
preseason
safety.
game, and I was like, this looks a little different. Well,
It's so stupid.
I don't think it's for safety. I think it's to incentivize them to run out because you moved up the where they kicked a few years ago, and everything
Yeah.
was just a touchback. And so now it's like, well, that's kind of boring. Let's try to make kickoffs a little more interesting by incentivizing to run them out when the team that's supposed to tackle you can't move until you get the ball, and then you start running, and then it depends how fast you can run and how far.
What was the point in putting the rule in the first place? It was fine how it was. Sometimes you just gotta leave things alone.
No, I agree. I think that
You know what I mean?
they're under pressure to maximize their profits, and they're doing that with streaming services. They're trying new rules to see if that brings in new eyes, and I don't think it does. I think it just kind of makes the fans more upset, where it's just like, this is not helpful.
It's turning into it's gonna be flag football before we know it.
That's going to be an Olympic sport next year or next Olympics. They're doing
it. Is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Back to streaming.
Yeah.
I want to get back. I mean, streaming isn't going anywhere. It's changed how we, consume content forever. And honestly, as a stoner, if you want to call me that, whatever, I'm all for it. I love. There's nothing like hitting play, disappearing into a great show or movie. It's the whole point of our leveled up segment. And not just gaming, but just for entertainment. So it's the ultimate chill experience, especially, to wind down the evening after a long day of work or even gaming. If you want to just wind down with some episode, next thing you know, it's 3 a.m. You're like, oh man, I already binged this whole season. But the problem with that is now these streaming services also are turning into releasing episodes on a weekly basis. What's the point when streaming services were starting to kind of binge? You had the whole seasons. They released 1 season, 2 seasons, sometimes 3 seasons at once. So you could binge watch. And now it's turned into this cable TV weekly drop, or heaven forbid, I love The Boys on Amazon Prime. If they fucking drop like 3 episodes one day and then one the rest of every other week or every week for the rest of the season. So like you got the first 3 and then it's like one more. What's the point? Or now you have them splitting seasons, part 1 and part 2. What is the point of that? What are we doing? It's turning back into cable.
I feel like there has to be a point to it. I don't know what it is. And I think they're also thinking, are people really going to stop watching if we, release an episode every week or part a couple episodes every couple weeks. I've seen them. It looks like they're trying to find the secret sauce there, where instead of just dumping a whole season or two, they're like, oh well, maybe we'll do it in parts. And I don't know if it's to extend the life of the show. Like if you just release a season of a show and the show's like okay, and you watch 10 episodes in a weekend, you might kind of forget about that show. But I guess if they released like The Mandalorian was one of the first ones I can remember that started to come out this way. Mandalorian's a great show. People still watched it, even though it came out a week at a time. And then they would have the next season. They would do the same thing. People still watched it. And it may have been like, oh, like I wish they would just release it the whole thing at the same time. But
You know what my thoughts are behind that? You know
Tell
why I
me.
think they did that? Exactly what I said earlier about like the HBO thing.
Mhm.
And it's a proven fact with HBO that people drop it after things like Game of Thrones because there's no other good shows on it they want to watch. They do that now. These streaming services do it, so you don't drop it. They don't give you all the content. You don't drop it. They don't lose that profit for 3 months, because they don't drag it out. That's what I think they do it for, because people were smart and they were dropping. People only want to watch certain, when you have exclusive shows like The Mandalorian or Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon or whatever. Pick your point, The Boys, Stranger Things, whatever. Once you watch it, if there's nothing else on there you really want to watch, I mean, with the exception of Netflix, I'll always say the exception. Netflix is just its gold standard for me. But
Yeah, it is.
everything else is like, what's the point of paying for it if the only show I watch on there is this one show? I'm not going to pay for it the rest of the year. You know what I mean? That's,
Right.
more than likely 10 to 20 bucks a month. I don't know, because like I said, Xfinity includes it all now, but whatever the cost is. And then if you don't want to watch ads, you got to pay an extra, whatever a month. Is the way a lot of them are doing now.
Yeah, and if you're only having a streaming show for one show and it comes out every week, then you spend an hour or so, whatever, watch that show, and then it'll pop up, hey, because you watched this show, you probably might like this one too, or see what else we have here. You're only spending an hour watching the show. Look at all this other content we have. Yeah, so that's how they'll get you to consume more of their
That's
content.
how smart streaming is now.
Yep.
That's like the AI in this content now. You know what I mean? Like it's all AI driven content. Essentially, it's an algorithm of what you're watching. They take it and we recommend this. Well, we think you should watch this, and I don't know.
If that leaves you to stay on that service more and maybe not cancel, it's like, well, shit, I really like The Mandalorian, but they got a couple other Marvel stuff, some Star Wars stuff, some, maybe I'll check that out too. Oh, they have another thing coming out in a month, because they're really milking the Star Wars thing for whatever storylines they can get. And
I stopped. I had to stop. I'm such a Star Wars fan, but it gets to the point for me now that you're taking away the nostalgic of Star Wars for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're overdoing it. I get some of the shows, like The Mandalorian was a really good show until Gina Carano left. I'll leave it at that. But
I liked Andor was a really, really good one that they came out with. But some of them, like the Book of Boba Fett, is garbage.
Yeah.
And some of them are okay. But
all the new Star Wars that Disney's created.
Right.
I mean, they're okay. Don't get me wrong. They're good, but they're not Star Wars. They're not the original.
Yeah, but that's what I say. They'll put out all this other content, and maybe it's not The Mandalorian, which is their flagship Star Wars show, or at least it was at the time. And then they'll say, "Oh, but we also have all this other stuff." So they want you to explore it, like the whole channel, and see what else you might like, because you're not just there for The Mandalorian, because you're only there for to watch an episode. But they'll start giving you pop-ups for other similar content or things, because you watch this, we might think you like this. And I think some people are like, all right, well, I still have an evening, so let's see what else is happening. And then it's like, well, So,
hey, streaming services giving us access to a world of entertainment like never before. And for us gamers, it's the perfect way to unwind after a long session. I love it. You're zoning out to some trippy animated series, getting lost in a cinematic masterpiece. Streaming is just become an essential part of our entertainment experience. I think it's only getting crazier, though.
We will certainly see what the future holds.
So, any final thoughts, man?
I think it's a real test right now of what is going to keep people in the seats, what is going to keep people consuming content in terms of dropping a season at a time to releasing it over a series of weeks or a bundle over a couple weeks. And I think they'll figure out what makes the most sense, and we'll see that being the new model.
All right, levelers, we've covered a lot. How streaming services have transformed the way we watch content, the rise of original productions and content, the decline of traditional TV, or is it really the decline? Is it coming back in a new form? Where it might be headed in the future. But we want to hear from you. What do you think about the state of streaming? What's your go-to platform? Let us know. highlevelchronicles.com or hit us up on social, HLC Podcast 420. Don't forget to share what you've been leveling up on this week. We love hearing about your cannabis successes, the games you're playing, the shows you're watching. Keep the feedback coming, levelers. Until next time, light one up, stay tuned, stay leveled up. We are out.
Thanks for listening to High Level Chronicles. See you next time.
Thank you again for listening to High Level Chronicles. Please help us grow by leaving us a review wherever you listen to us at, whether it's Spotify, iTunes, Alexa. Your reviews will help our show grow and help us reach a broader audience. Also, we are always looking for new show sponsors, so please reach out if you're interested. You can hit us on our social media or email us info@highlevelchronicles.com. Thanks again for listening.